Hello and welcome to UGC E-Pathshala. I am Dr. Swikar Lama, Assistant Professor in Criminology and Police Studies at Sardar Patel University of Police Security and Criminal Justice, Jodhpur. I am going to present the module on investigation of rape cases and traffic accidents. The learning outcomes of this module are to make the learners understand the various concepts of investigation of rape cases and traffic accidents, to make the learners understand various steps of investigation of rape cases and traffic accidents, and to familiarize the learners with various skills and techniques of investigation of rape cases and traffic accidents. Investigation of rape is a very complex and sensitive type of investigation where physical evidence plays an important role. Investigation of traffic accidents may seem completely different to investigation of rape, but it also requires a lot of physical evidence to be collected and analyzed. Particular types of evidence have to be looked out to conduct a successful investigation in both cases. Let us first talk about the investigation of rape. Investigation of rape is often very difficult and sensitive matter for law enforcement agencies. Women do not report being raped due to various factors like worries of unsympathetic treatment from police and discomforting procedures, lack of belief in the police's ability to apprehend the suspect, fear of further victimization by court proceedings as a result of television programs or newspapers reports, embarrassment about publicity, however limited, and fear of reprisal by the rapist. Between these reasons, insensitive treatment by law enforcement personnel is the primary cause rape is not reported. Hence, it is imperative that the law enforcement agencies follow certain procedures while conducting investigation of rape. Law enforcement officers should quickly arrest the perpetrator using investigative techniques that ensure a conviction and a process that causes the least amount of psychological trauma to the victim. More likely than not, this will begin with a call from the victim to the police headquarters or a visit to the police station. How civilian police dispatch or other communication personnel handle the initial contact proves critical. Depending on the variables present in the initial contact, police administrator should ensure personnel should ask the victim whether she or has sustained serious physical injury and needs immediate medical assistance. If so, dispatch an ambulance or take her to the hospital from the police station. Ask the victim if she can identify or describe the suspect. Follow protocols relative to providing this information to patrol units. Immediately dispatch a patrol unit to the scene. Tell the victim to wait for the police to arrive if she is in a safe location. Instruct the victim not to alter her physical appearance or touch anything on scene, and advise the victim not to wash or douche before she undergoes a medical examination. The natural instinct of rape victims is to wash, douche, change clothing and use other self-help mechanisms. First contact personnel should do everything possible to ensure the victim does not do this. In addition to the location where the rape actually took place, or in the case of an abduction, the point of contact and release, the victim is the crime scene. Although most forcible rape cases are legitimate and investigators should proceed under that assumption, investigators do have a responsibility to those falsely accused. They can best fulfill this responsibility by conducting a thorough investigation. Unlike many other crimes, convictions in rape cases may require corroborative evidence in addition to the victim's testimony in court. This makes the proper gathering and documentation of physical evidence absolutely essential. Procedures for investigation of rape include filing an FIR. A survivor, her family, or anyone aware of the crime can file a first information report (FIR) with the police as the first and official account of the crime. Police investigation can begin only after the FIR is filed. A copy must be given to the survivor and her family for free. Recording a witness's statement is the next step. At the beginning of the investigation process, the police obtains written statements from the witnesses, if any, or the incident. These witnesses can then act as additional voices against the assailant and support the survivor's case in the court. The third step is the investigation of crime scene. Any evidence that can place the survivor, witnesses and perpetrators at the time and place of the crime is crucial. The crime scene is surveyed for any forensic or material evidence supporting the survivor's account. The next step is the medical examination of the survivor or the victim. The medical investigation is a part of the official police investigation. It comprises the treatment of the victim as well as the documentation of any signs indicating rape. The absence of any signs doesn't mean that rape hasn't happened or occurred. Signing the Panchnama. All the material possessions of the survivor and accused, clothes and jewelry worn at the time of the assault should be sealed and submitted to the investigating officer. A confirmation that the evidence has been collected, called a Panchnama, should be signed by at least 2 Panchas or persons the survivor trusts. Medical examination of the accused. The accused is sent for a thorough medical checkup to the checkup for any signs that might validate the survivor's account of the incident. Even if these signs are absent, it does not prove that rape hasn't occurred. Arrest of the accused is the next step. The police can directly arrest the accused if his whereabouts and identity are known to the survivor. If they are unknown, the police can use sketches drawn with the help of the victim or witnesses to track down and arrest the accused. In some cases, the police arrests a number of suspects, out of which the accused is identified through an official identification parade. Recording the statement of the survivor and any witnesses before a magistrate is a very important step. The survivor and witnesses give a detailed description of the crime in their own words. This is the official statement that allows for the charge sheet to be filed, and it is used as evidence in the court. Filing of the charge sheet. The police submits a detailed account of the criminal investigation to the Sessions Court, which includes the statements given by the survivor, witnesses and accused. The FIR as well as the findings of the investigation are also a part of the charge sheet. Once the charge sheet is submitted to the court, the trial can begin. The medical examination, collection of physical evidence is an important step. The following types of physical evidence should be collected during the medical examination for laboratory analysis. Hair, both pubic and head hair. Hair cannot individually identify a person unless the root is present. Hair does provide strong corroborative evidence. Individual was at the crime scene. Hair can be distinguished between human and animal. Analysis of hair may be able to determine race, and experts may be able to establish the part of the body from which the hair came. Fibers have limited value to mass production of clothing, and in rare cases it can be used to deduce individual identification with a high degree of certainty. Blood can be distinguished as human and animal, and DNA analysis can provide individual identification. Fingernail scrapings are used to collect DNA evidence for individual analysis and identification. Vaginal, rectal and oral swabs and smear are used to collect DNA evidence for individual analysis and identification. The investigator or forensic expert has to check for semen as an important evidence. Semen can be found on the victim's vagina, rectum, mouth or buccal cavity, pubic hair, clothes and undergarments. It can be found on the culprit's files, zip, front parts of trousers, undergarments, front flap of the shirt, handkerchiefs, sexual organ, penile tip and pubic hair. It can be found at the scene of occurrence on the floor, carpet, furniture, bathroom, lavatory, on the bed, on draperies or on discarded pieces of cloth, paper, tissue and condoms. There are certain presumptive tests for locating semen. Semen stands fluorescent under UV light. It is common practice to visually assess items of evidence under UV light to locate possible semen stains. Now I will talk about the investigation and collection of evidence in drug-facilitated sexual assaults. Because victims may be unaware or only suspect that an assault has occurred, law enforcement has the critical task of gathering as much physical evidence as soon as possible. Law enforcement officers cannot rely on forensic toxicology reports alone. Accounts from any people at the scene will be very important. At the proper time, a warrant can be obtained for the search of a suspect's residence. car or place of work for evidence of rofinol or other drugs. Now I'll talk about the recording the statement of victim. Upon receipt of information relating to the commission of offence of rape, the investigating officer shall make immediate steps to take the victim to any metropolitan or preferably judicial magistrate for the purpose of recording her statement under section 164 of CRPC. A copy of the statement under section 164 CRPC should be handed over to the investigating officer immediately with a specific direction that contents of such statement under section 164 CRPC should not be disclosed to any person till charge sheet or report under section 173 CRPC is filed. The newly inserted provision to section 154(1) clause 1 as amended by the Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013 states that the police officer shall get the statement of the person recorded by a judicial magistrate under clause A of subsection 5A of section 164 as soon as possible. According to clause A of subsection 5A of section 164 of CRPC, the judicial magistrate shall record the statement of the person against which such offence has been committed as soon as the commission of the offence is brought to the notice of the police. Now about the interview procedure and investigative questions in sexual assault cases. The investigator must ask certain questions to the victim in a sensitive manner. Firstly, the type and sequence of sexual acts during an assault. To determine the motivation behind a rape, it is imperative to ascertain the type and sequence of the rape. Verbal activity of the rapist is also important. A rapist reveals a good deal about himself and the motivation behind the assault through what he says to the victim. Verbal activity of the victim also is important. The rapist may make the victim say certain words or phrases that enhances the rape for him. Sudden change in the rapist's attitude is also important. During the attack, the victim should be specifically asked whether she observed any change in the attitude of the rapist during the time he was with her. Theft during rape, it gives an impression almost without exception. Police record the theft of items from rape victims. Delayed reporting. If the victim has delayed making a complaint, the investigator should establish the reason behind it. Certain factors influence the quality of interview like officer's attitude, the physical setting, opening remarks of the officer, ventilation period, investigative questioning skills of the officer, concluding how the interview was concluded. The victim must be asked to describe what happened, describe the assailant or the offender, describe the offender's vehicle, and also asked to describe the location where the crime occurred. There are certain problems in investigation of rape. Victim may suffer from trauma, victim may be unable to clearly focus, victim may not be able to articulate accurate and complete details of the incident, and the victim may not remember about the incident. The victim may be hostile or angry, the victim may tell partial lies or not disclose the entire truth. So the investigating officer has to be careful. Now let us move on to the accident investigation. Certain questions need to be answered in an accident investigation. Why and how the accident happened, what happened, where the accident happened, when it happened, and who were involved and who witnessed the accident. There are certain processes which need to be followed in accident investigation like geometric and physical survey, evidence and trace survey, road safety audit, road user behavior at black spot area study, vehicle condition, injury data or death assumption, witness interview, in-depth analysis of the road accident including causes of road accident, speed estimates and accident reconstruction. The cause of road accidents may be due to human deficiency or vehicle deficiency or road and environment deficiency. Sometimes it may be due to a combination of these factors. Human deficiency factors may include mental incompetence, driving incompetence, alcohol level in blood, drug usage and stimulant, wrong driving behavior, less driving experience, using mobile phone, sight, distance. Vehicle deficiency may include modification, defective equipment, brake system, a bad wheel and tire condition, and illegal overloading. Road and environment deficiency may include traffic control, road surface condition, roadside obstruction. Now I'll talk about the reaction time of the driver, which is very important factor in accident investigation. Reaction time is the lapse of time between stimulation and the beginning of response of the driver. Typical reaction time of driver under different conditions are that in normal conditions average reaction time is about 1 second. When driver is having telephone conversation or listening to loud music, it is about 1.5 to 2 seconds. When the driver is texting, it is 3 to 4 seconds, and when the driver is drunk or under medication, it is 2 to 5 seconds. Total stopping distance. The total stopping distance is composed of two parts. Thinking distance, the distance traveled by the car in the driver's reaction time, and the braking distance, the distance skidded by the car after the brakes are applied. Total stopping distance is equal to the thinking distance plus the braking distance, which gives an estimation of the time and the brake. As you can see in the figure, tires conditions and skid marks can also give you a picture whether the tire was normal, inflated, underinflated or overinflated. Vehicular accident reconstruction is the scientific process of investigating, analyzing and drawing conclusions about the causes and events of a vehicular collision. Forensic investigators are employed to conduct in-depth collision analysis to identify the causes of collisions, including the role of the driver, vehicle road conditions and the environment. The laws of physics such as the conservation of linear momentum, work energy and kinematics are the basis for the analysis and may be employed to handle the different variables. Accident reconstructions are done in court cases involving death and personal injury. The purpose of accident scene inspection is to recover data for further investigation of all of the vehicles involved in the collision. The investigations include collection of evidence such as scene photographs, videos of the collision, measurements of the scene and eyewitnesses' confessions. Additional information such as steering angles, braking distance, with or without braking, use of signal lights or hazard lights, car speed and acceleration will also be obtained. Physical evidence such as skid marks of tires is also examined. The length of a skid mark can often allow calculation of the original speed of a vehicle. Vehicle speeds are frequently underestimated by a driver, so an independent estimate of speed is often essential in accident investigations. Inspection of the road surfaces is also vital. Icy road, oil spill from a vehicle, obstacles such as road debris may affect the friction of the road surfaces. There are certain things which the investigator should do at the scene of accident. He should examine the tires of the vehicles. For flat or damaged tires may cause the car to lose control. Examine the road's condition, like because oil spill, strange obstacles and sharp objects may cause accident. He also must record the features of the skid marks because it may show whether the tire was flat or overloading. He must record the features of the skid marks because it may help estimate the speed of the vehicle before the impact. He must check whether the drivers were drunk or medicated because alcohol or drugs will affect the driver's reaction time during an accident, and he must obtain oral confession of the eyewitnesses because they can provide information which is helpful in reconstructing the accident. He also must examine the hazard lamps to check whether the victim had turned on the hazard lamp before the collision. The place should be isolated till the examination is complete. Note the exact position bodies of the victims and the vehicle. Take photographs where necessary from different angles of the scene before removal of bodies and the vehicle. Now what should be searched at the crime scene? Skid marks should be searched, then note their length, prepare a sketch giving details of various measurements like tire impressions for determining their make, condition, size and direction of movement. Dirt and debris from impact should be seen for comparison with the dirt from under the surface of the suspected vehicle. Chipped flakes of paint and enamels for comparison with samples from the suspected vehicle. Fragments of glass, pieces of glass from damaged headlights, mirrors, windows or window screen must be collected to determine the type of vehicle involved in the accident and also connect a suspected vehicle found with broken windscreens or headlights, etc. Broken equipment such as pieces of metals from broken bumpers, door handle, radiator emblem which may have been detached. Fabric like small fragments of clothes or fibers or garments torn away should be collected. Blood, hair tissues, these will indicate as to what to look for in a suspected vehicle. A sketch of the scene should invariably be prepared showing the point of impact, track marks of vehicles concerned in the accident, position of the vehicles of the accident, width of the road and nature of road surface, whether metalled or tarred or otherwise. Visibility, whether the road at the accident spot is a straight road or with bends, presence of fog if any, and such other details to be noted. Gradient of the road at the scene of accident, skid marks and brake impressions, position on the road of glass or other debris, width and the nature of the kacha position of the road and roadside land, dimensions of vehicles involved, if visibility is obstructed by hedges, fences, poles, etc., and if so, measurements thereof. Any fixed objects, example telegraph, telephone or electric poles which might have a bearing on the incident, which might help to fix the exact position on the road of vehicles and injured. Now we must also examine the injured person or dead body. An attempt should be made to find out whether the injury was caused by a direct or glancing impact, whether the injuries were due to crushing effect or weight of the vehicle, whether the body was dragged along, whether the person was lying on the road when hit, when the person fell down from a vehicle, whether the injury was by parts projecting under the vehicle such as axle, etc. The speed of the vehicle at the time of the impact, any physical disabilities of the injured or deceased, cataract, deafness, epileptic, etc. Preserve any foreign matter present in the wound. Note carefully marks such as tire marks, grill marks on the person or his clothing. Take samples of blood and urine of the deceased if any. Take sample of hair from the head of the deceased if any. Take out any foreign matter found on clothing and note loss of buttons and signs of tears, etc. Examination of suspected vehicle also must be done. The suspected vehicle should be protected from other interference such as and should be cleaned. Search for fingerprints should be made first. If glass were broken, it should be taken possession of and sent to an expert for examination. Specimen sample of paint and enamels should be taken and sent to an expert for examination along with any paint found at the scene of occurrence. Foreign objects including paints and debris must be found on the suspected vehicle should be carefully collected. The inside of the vehicle should also be searched for presence of material from the other vehicles involved having been thrown inside through the window, etc. at the time of impact. Broken portion of the vehicle found at the scene or on the roads should be preserved for comparison. There should also be photographed if possible. Stains of blood, etc. should be scraped and collected. Hairs and fibers sticking to the vehicle should also be collected. Now to conclude, investigation of both rape and traffic accidents can only prove successful if evidence is collected and analyzed properly and witnesses are interviewed properly. One similarity in both these cases are that the first response that a police officer may have taken at the scene of crime is to provide medical attention to the victims. That may be followed securing the crime scene and searching for physical evidence. Hence, police officers need to act in a prompt and smart manner to deal with such cases, which will help in providing aid to the victims and revealing the suspect. Thank you.